I call this meeting of Lake Mary Toastmasters, Club 6440 to order. Please turn off any of your noise-making devices, lest we tell Santa you have been bad.
Very bad.
The club mission, we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. And with a little bit of time here, a reminder of that very promise you made when you signed your application for membership, the Toastmasters promise. As a member of Toastmasters International and my club, we promise to attend club meetings regularly, to prepare all of my speech and leadership projects to the best of our abilities, basing them on the projects in the Confident Communication and Advanced Communication and Leadership Manuals, to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluations, to help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow, to serve my club as an officer when called upon to do so, to treat fellow members and guests with respect and courtesy, to bring guests to club meetings so they can see the benefits that Toastmasters membership offers, to adhere to the guidelines and rules for all Toastmasters education and recognition programs, and to maintain honest and highly ethical standards during the conduct of all Toastmasters activities. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated and welcome our Toastmaster for this morning, Jessica Reshke.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas. It's so nice to have our small group here today. The theme for this meeting is Christmas traditions, pagan roots, and I will be talking about common Christmas traditions that have non-Christian or pagan roots, which is almost all Christmas traditions, pretty much. Just so that we're all on the same page here, some people think that pagans is actually a particular type of religion, and it is not. A pagan is a broad group, traditionally, this is what we think of pagans, a broad group of indigenous or historical polytheistic religious traditions, primarily those cultures known in the classical world. So we'll be mostly talking about Druids, Romans, and Norse pagans. So the first Christmas tradition is the date and how we've decided to celebrate Christmas on December 25th. No one really knows when Jesus was born. There is no date in the Bible. But in 4th century, the decision was made to celebrate Christmas on December 25th, and it was sometime during the 4th century by church bishops in Rome. And the reason for doing so, they have a very good reason, because people were already celebrating things at that time. And when you're trying to convert people over to Christianity, you don't want to tell them, oh, we don't celebrate this anymore. How about we can still celebrate, but we'll just celebrate something else. And what people were celebrating during that time is winter solstice, which takes place on December 21st or the 22nd, and it's the shortest day of the year. People celebrated because they kind of saw that as the end of winter, and we're now turning towards longer days, and spring is coming, and of course that's something to celebrate when it's dark and cold, and you want to see it. Ancient pagan Roman midwinter festivals called Saturnalia took place in December on this date, so it was many of the traditions that we celebrate at Christmas were also kind of started at that time. So I'd like to start our meeting off by first introducing our technical table. I'm going to start with our grammarian, Kerri.
The fundamental role of the grammarian is to help members express themselves clearly and concisely. The grammarian has two basic responsibilities. First, to introduce new words to members, and second, to comment on exceptional and improper use of the English language during the course of the meeting. And our word of the day today is illumination, which is an act or instance of illuminating, the fact or condition of being illuminated, a decoration of lights, sometimes illuminations, an entertainment display or celebration using lights, or an intellectual or spiritual enlightenment. And using it in a sentence, they traveled to the temple in search of spiritual illumination. Thank you, Madam Secretary.
Thank you. A lot of definitions for that word, so hopefully everybody can get it in today.
It was really because they kept using the word illuminate in the definitions, and I'm like, well, that's not very helpful.
Really?
Moving on to, there's a change on our agenda. I had an open slot for an au counter, and Julia so graciously agreed to step in. So Julia, please, what will you be doing today?
And guests, my role as the all counter is to illuminate all those clutch words that we so love to use throughout the meeting, such as so's, you knows, ands, varies, all of those clutch words. I'll give my report at the end of the meeting, and every infraction is 5 cents. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. And lastly, we have our timer, Lori Richards.
Toastmasters and guests, my role as the timer today will be to shed some illumination and keep everyone on time. So the speakers are allowed 5 to 7 minutes. At 5 minutes, they'll get the green card, 6, the yellow card, and 7 minutes, they'll get the red card. Table topics are allowed 1 minute, so the speakers will get the green card at 30 seconds, the yellow card at 45 seconds, and then a minute they'll see the red card. And the evaluators are allowed 2 to 3 minutes. So at 2 minutes, they'll get the green, 2.5, they'll get the yellow, and at 3, they'll get the red, and I'll give my report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
We shouldn't have any problem staying on time today since we are short a speaker. Hopefully we can make that up with extra on table topics. So. And I also have lots and lots of pagan traditions and rituals to talk about, so I can also eat up a lot of time. And briefly, my next one, the Yule log, or saying word Yuletide, comes from Scandinavia. And in Scandinavia and other parts of Northern Europe, the winter solstice is known as Yule. And this is where we get Yule logs from. It's traditional when they're celebrating Yule to put a giant log on the fire. It kind of symbolizes the sun coming back. So even today we still have Yule logs. You know, I like the dessert, the Yule log. I don't know if anyone's ever had that.
Red velvet.
I prefer that over the traditional Yule log. And other symbols of Yule include evergreen boughs, wreaths, holly, mistletoe, pillar candles, and baskets of clove-studded fruit and wassail. So does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
It's pretty much everything we use to decorate at Christmas. And we'll move on to our first speaker. And our first speaker is competent communicator Gus Davies, who will be speaking from the... No? Am I out of order now?
Yes.
Yes, I am. Sorry.
Well, I'm in the zone right now.
My apologies. My script is off. It does not match my agenda. So, correction. Our first speaker is Rich Massa, who will be speaking from Project 3 in the Competent Communicator Manual, Get to the Point. And his speech is titled The Resolution, How Can We Make Them Stick? Please help me welcome Rich.
It's Christmas Day, and your kids wake you up bright and early to open their presents. You go to your family's house, and you have some dinner, some drinks, and you exchange a few more. Life couldn't be better with yet another stressful holiday behind you. The next day you wake up and you notice that your favorite celebrity has lost a bunch of weight with this magical new diet or this amazing product, and you keep that in the back of your mind. And now it's a week later is your annual New Year's Eve party. 10, 9, 8, 7, say it with me, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! You grab your partner, you give them a big kiss, or if you're single like me, you just grab the closest one next to you.
Give them a big kiss.
And you give them a big kiss. And you drink the night away. When you wake up the next morning with your hangover and you ask yourself, was it worth it? And you promise yourself never to drink again, You're brushing your teeth to get the taste of liquor out of your mouth, and you notice your bathroom scale. You said, I might as well get this over with. You step on your scale, and you notice that the numbers are significantly higher than it was in the fall. And you say to yourself, that's it? I'm joining the gym tomorrow, and I'm going to, and that's where it begins. Madam Toastmasters, fellow members and guests, of course I'm talking about the typical New Year's resolution. And today we're going to go over 3 things. We're going to go over some statistics of how many people actually make a New Year's resolution versus how many people actually stick with them, what qualities make somebody successful versus unsuccessful, and what actually makes a person want to change. So, this is going to be a little bit of class participation. By a show of hands, who has already set their New Year's resolutions for 2015, and don't lie to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about half the room has set a New Year's resolution. Now, according to the University of Scranton, 45% of people make a New Year's resolution, but only 8% actually stick to them. I'm going to repeat that again. 45% of people in America set a New Year's resolution, but only 8% stick to them. In fact, only 29%, not only 29%, but 29% only make it past the first 2 weeks. Let that soak in for a second. So why is that? I equate a New Year's resolution with buying a brand new, shiny, used vehicle. Your year may be new, but it's the same person going into it. So I want to review what makes a person successful versus unsuccessful. According to life coach Tony Robbins, you are the standards that you have set for yourself, and your rituals will back that up. For instance, if you're financially successful, you're going to save money, you're going to spend money, you're going to look for ways to make more money. If you're a spiritual person, you're going to have a ritual of prayer. You're going to go to church or temple. You're going to do kind acts or charity. If you're an athlete, you're going to work out every day. You're going to eat certain foods, and you're going to show on your body. That is a standard that you've set for yourself. However, if you have said to yourself, well, I want to lose weight, but I've always been big-boned. I'd love to quit smoking, but I'm a smoker. That is the standard that you have set for yourself. And you will subconsciously always go back to your standard. And your rituals will follow that up. Rituals equal results. So, how can we break these rituals? How can we set a new standard? What makes somebody want to change? Well, as a fitness professional of 11 years, I can only think of 2 factors that make somebody want to change. And that is pain and pleasure. The pain of somebody wakes up in the morning and tries to put on their pants and it doesn't quite fit. The pain of not having your mate desire you the way they used to. The pain of not having enough energy to play with your kids. The pain of going to the doctor and getting bad news. Versus the pleasure of looking in the mirror, you wake up, you're like, oh yeah, I like what I see. The pleasure of having passion in your relationships and having confidence in yourself. The pleasure of crossing the finish line of a race you trained so hard for. And I will tell you out of experience, when pain and pleasure meet, when disgust meets desire, that's when you're going to see major transformation in someone. And I can tell you that from personal experience. When you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, has anyone been in that part of their life? Raise your hand. I can tell you that 2 years ago, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was ready to take on 2013. I started my own business, but then I lost 50% of my clients, and I lost 50% of my income. My relationships were nowhere near where I wanted them to be, and I fell in love with somebody I shouldn't have fallen in love with. I was nowhere near at the point of my life at 37 years old where I felt I should be. And I took a hard look at myself and I said, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this pattern. And there's only one factor that is consistent in all of these patterns, and that is me. My disgust met my desire. I had a great desire to have a life of abundance. So I went on a journey. I read books of self-improvement, of leadership. I found spirituality, and I created better relationships with my friends and my family. And right now, 2 years later, my income has doubled. I'm getting invited left and right and making friends literally every single week, and I'm closer with my family than ever. My life is truly transformed, and I'm seeing the seeds of my dreams starting to flourish. So I'm going to ask you, for those who have raised your hand, if you have a resolution for 2015, do you have the resolve to stick with it? Thank you.
We have 1 minute on the clock for evaluations, please. Thank you. I'd like to talk about another Christmas tradition that has pagan roots. All of the lights and light that we decorate with, or illuminations. The lights we decorate our homes and trees with during the holiday season have a long history. Ancient pagans lit bonfires and candles in the winter solstice and the holidays around to celebrate the return of light. And solar deities such as Sol and Victus were also celebrated at midwinter, adding to the solar imagery. So now, Christmas and Christian traditions, the lights are represented as Jesus being the light of the world, and the star above Bethlehem and guiding the wise men, which is written in the book of Matthew. Which I think the lights are kind of funny. It seems like everybody likes lights at night, and almost all celebrations use lights, but it still goes back to those pagan days. So now I'd like to introduce our second speaker. Is Competent Communicator Gus Davies, who will be speaking from the Speaking to Inform manual, Project 3, the demonstration talk. What sources of truth will you draw from to be a wiser person today, tomorrow, and forever? Let Gus Davies show you 2 key resources that may change the way you choose wisdom in his speech titled Confluence, the place and process to gain and flow with wisdom.
Wisdom, it's insights into right and wrong in handling problems or difficult situations. Wisdom, others can tell us, is when you accumulate knowledge, and that knowledge you accumulate, you are able to understand it but apply it to your life. Have you ever thought the source of wisdom that helps you to make decisions? What informs your New Year's resolution? Where do you gather the facts? How do you filter the information that you have so that you can make decisions, whether it's your last Christmas Day shopping, or what gifts, or what New Year's resolution? What informs you? Where do you get the decision from? Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, I am going to show and tell you about Confluence. The way that you will receive information, the sources you can look to be able to make wise decisions. Every one of us in leadership, at your job, in your family, with your friends, every one of us every day, we want to be able to make wiser decisions. We want to be leaders in our place of work, in our entertainment. There are two sources of truth that I'm going to tell you about today. And those sources of truth are all over us, all around us. Those of us in our faith tradition will say, my source of truth as a Christian, as a pastor, we come from the Bible. We get truths from the Bible, and that's what I read. But I read all other religious books. I read the Quran, I read books of Buddha, Sikh religion, Baha'i, all of those other books I read so that I can glean wisdom. But when it comes back to my faith tradition, my truth is going to come from the scriptures. The second source of truth is all around us. We say in our Christian tradition, all truth is God's truth. If you look at your watch right now, there's a time that is universally on the East Coast correct, and you can keep adding up. You know, I'm going to be flying later today. When I get to Denver, I will still have a truth of the time 2 hours behind. That is true. I don't find that truth in the Bible, but all truth is God's truth. When you go to the doctor and you're given medication, you accept what he's going to give you. Or if you want to do fitness, there are rules you follow in exercise. You know, whether you do yoga, you do body pump, there are rules, there's truth in that. So we are surrounded by truth, not only for our health, but also in education and in business. All those are sources of truth that we should glean from to be able to have wisdom. Have you ever wondered the amount of truth that is all around us? So two sources of truth. You have all truth that is God's truth, the facts that we can see in creation, that we can see around us. It's a witness we can't. And then in my faith tradition, we say truth comes from the scripture, because the Bible says you can be wise. If you lack wisdom, James 1:5 says, ask God, he will give you wisdom. And he tells us when we're raising our children, he said, seek wisdom, pursue, go after it, chase wisdom. So those are the source of truths that we have. So in order to be wiser, we have to get this idea of confluence. What is confluence? Confluence is the meeting together of two rivers in geography. Two rivers come together. And one of the examples I see of two rivers coming together but they form one that is inseparable. You all know the Ohio River. The Ohio River is made up of two rivers. The Monongahela River and the Allegheny River, they come together in Pittsburgh and they form the Ohio River. So that's an example of confluence. Another example of confluence, how many of you have been to St. Louis, Missouri, Missouri State? If you come to Missouri, it's also, that city is set at the confluence of the Mississippi River and the Missouri River. That's another example of confluence. The one that was amazing for me was, I was visiting Brazil. We were in the city of Manaus. And in Manaus, Brazil, there's also another confluence there. And that is the Rio Negro River and the Amazon River. They have a confluence at the city of Manaus. So confluence can be in different things. It can be in your business. It can be in your ideas. So I want to show you and tell you what this would mean for you to be wiser. This liquid here represents, you know, when people read the Bible, I don't know why they write like the red letter edition, but it's all the same. So this will demonstrate the scriptures that we read, and also this blue will demonstrate other truths that we have, whether it's in business, it's in education, it's in health, whatever it is, these two will be able to show confluence. May I invite you, Jessica, to come up here and help me with this demonstration. Jessica, this is all truth, business, education, and this is scripture. Will you please help me as we pour this together? We're going to pour everything together. Thank you very much. Please have a seat. Confluence just took place. So if you want to be wiser, seek wisdom that is all around you. Pursue it, like the Bible tells us. Pursue wisdom. Get educated. Whatever you can get it. But also, you have truths in my scripture. I will recommend and encourage you. Maybe this year, one of the things we tell people, read the book of Proverbs. You know how you read what to read a day? Just read by the calendar date. By today, you will read the 23rd. So that's confluence of ideas. Do you want to make great resolutions this year that you can keep? Do you really want to seek truths that you can have? When you bring those two together, you have confluence. They will never be separated. But some people would like to try. I'm going to call on you again, Jessica. Can you try to separate that from me? Will it work? I would just want red in here, please. Just red. Thank you. So fellow Toastmasters, truth of all truths and scriptures can bring a confluence and could make us wiser and we'll be better people in 2015. Madam Toastmaster.
1 minute on the clock for evaluations. Now I'd like to talk about what's either probably your favorite Christmas tradition or maybe the most frustrating one that you deal with, and that's gift giving. Gift giving goes back to the Romans who exchanged gifts. They exchanged small gifts, toys, and edible treats during Saturnalia. And in modern times, gift giving does seem explicitly tied to Christmas, but actually people used to give gifts at the new year, and the gifts would it's a blessing to make you feel good at the end of the year and look forward to the new year. And it wasn't until the 1800s in the Victorian era that people started exchanging gifts at Christmas, which was made popular first by the British royal family. And now here's a gift probably everybody's looking forward to, is getting called on for table topics. I'd like to welcome our today's table topic master, Stephany.
Glasses, because I can't see those faces.
You can see the print. You can see the print of your face.
Yeah. For the benefit of our guests, this is the time where we practice our impromptu or on-the-spot speaking with questions or statements or requests to say, sing, dance, do something without any foreknowledge of what it's going to be. So let's see how our group does today. Who's an evaluator?
Hadi's evaluating and Martin.
You're all there. You're all the hook. Unless I get
He's
desperate.
already done.
I think you're done? Okay. You're done. All right. Traditions. Name your least favorite tradition, Diane.
So I'm standing here hoping there's going to be some kind of illumination. Actually, I think the whole shopping type of tradition, everybody out shopping, have to get the best present, I think that's detrimental to Christmas, because the spirit of Christmas that I hold is Jesus' birth and the family being together and celebrating it. So it's an anathema to the actual spirit of Christmas when people are out hustling and bustling and they're stealing people's packages from one another and they're just ravenous, trying to get different things. So I think that's my most or my least favorite tradition. Thank you.
That happened happens to be mine as well. That's the most pointless thing about the season, over-the-top gift buying. Tell me about another tradition that is superfluous. Or a Christmas song that makes no sense at all, Jessica.
So I have the choice.
Uh-huh.
Either.
I still like to hear about the song.
I'll think about the song in the back here, and I'll try and answer the question. I thought I'd be off the hook today if it was a Toastmaster. Nobody's safe.
Such luck.
I have to say that a tradition that I don't really go for, and I think can be a little, it's unnecessary, is over-the-top Christmas decorations everywhere. And some of them are so tacky. And people just still buy it. There's so much in store and everyone's still buying. I don't understand how many Christmas decorations you really need and where you're storing all this stuff and just decorate. I don't get it. I have to say Christmas decorations aren't my favorite. And as for the song, they're all kind of silly when you think about it. Which one? I'm trying to think of one that really doesn't make any sense.
Jingle bells.
Jingle bells? Just because it's not fun to ride out in the snow and the cold?
Well, first of all, who knows what a bobtail, bells on bobtail ring?
I know what that is, actually.
You would.
Thank you, Jessica.
Let's see. It takes between 4 and 15 years to grow a Christmas tree 6 to 7 feet. Do you think it's worth it? Steve? Or should we all use artificial trees?
Madam Table Topics Master, the Christmas tree is also not one of the Christian traditions. It really goes back to the celebration of nature. The idea to go out and cut down and kill a tree to go and celebrate nature completely blows my mind. I don't get it. It makes no sense whatsoever. I always go for the artificial ones. That makes a whole lot more sense. In my own house, I've got a 13.5-foot vaulted ceiling in the main room. When I moved in there, the simple 6-foot tree I knew was going to look pathetic. So I went and found online a 12-foot artificial tree, which means I have to drag in the huge stepladder just to put the thing up, and that's why I usually ask for help when we're going to do it. Now I get my son to drag his friends in to do it as well. Therefore, when it comes time to decorating, I go for the image and the symbolism, not the actuality, which is just completely absurd. That is my vision of what it means when it comes down to growing the Christmas tree. Let it grow. It does a whole lot more for us in the ground than it does for us rotting in the living room.
I kind of although nothing beats the smell of a real tree, I kind of agree with you. Christmas was banned by the Puritans under the rule of Oliver Cromwell in 1647. Parliament passed a law making Christmas illegal. Weigh in on the debate around the state capital nativity and the Church of Satan singing this Judah.
Fellow Toastmasters. Wow. I consider myself a spiritual person, but not necessarily a religious person. If that makes any sense to anybody. When it comes to people having their say about what they practice, I think everyone should have the right to practice how they want to practice, and having that, it doesn't bother me if you want to have an activity scene at the state capitol, if you want to say a prayer at school, everyone should have a right to. And if you don't believe in it, you don't have to say it. You don't have to look at it or anything. So I think we have a right to practice our religion and openly in front of the Capitol and have an activity scene if you would like one. It doesn't bother me in the least if I'm not necessarily a believer of that. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
So, Kerri, how do you like the angel in the hellfire that the Church of Satan set up next to the nativity?
I don't really know much about what you're talking about, but I can guess from what that is. have mixed feelings on that. I don't necessarily think it should be right next to the nativity scene or anything like that. However, I also don't see that they don't have a right to do that. So I'm kind of on both sides of that. I don't think people should decide what you can and can't do, and it is public property, so there should be a right for various religions to have things out there. I don't know that I would put them next to each other. I don't think that that's appropriate.
But you have the legal right. I think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy myself, but that's just my personal opinion. And let's see.
He said yes.
Who wants to?
He said yes.
You want to participate?
I don't like it.
An easy one.
Okay, I'm gonna give you one. Tell us about the most useless tradition you've participated in or seen around this holiday time. Tell us your name.
Hi, Sanjiv. Good morning. I'm Sanjiv.
Sanjiv?
I grew up in India, so we have not celebrated Christianity or the Christmas basically. But I can relate to my own religion. We celebrate Diwali, which is like also a festival of lights. And there is in India where on the festival night, the Diwali night, we burn crackers and burn crackers in the sky, and it's not very well regulated there, and the crackers are so dangerous there. It goes from his house and there's smoke and you cannot walk. So that's the one thing I never liked being there. You get suffocated. So when I came here, and then when I see on 4th July they have all this lights and crackers, I like that because it's in a lake or it's away. You just see the lights and you enjoy that, and at least you hear the thing, and you always in festive season too. That way on 4th of July. But I didn't like my tradition in Diwali where there's and people get burned too, and so I got burned too one time when I was trying to fire crackers at home too. After that I said it was not a good tradition to burn crackers on Diwali.
Thank you. One last one then. Let's see. Since the 1920s, Santa Claus has been depicted wearing just a red coat, although he's worn mauve, green, blue. Coca-Cola memorialized them in the red thing you see on Christmas cards, black trimming. Tell us about your updated Santa, his look, his clothes, and his ride. Rich.
Well, I'm a little poor on this subject because I was brought up as Jehovah's Witness, so I never believed in Santa. So I don't even know what the updated Santa looks like. So,
Your version.
Oh, the newer version.
Your version.
My version?
Yeah.
Make them up.
Make them up.
I'm gonna think. Let's see. So I get to make up Santa.
Yes.
I'm gonna make sure he is a mixture of he's a multicultural Santa that's a little bit like mauve. With you don't quite know what he is, whether if he's Asian or Jewish or black or white, and he has like the rainbow on with, and I'd say like the big clock like the rappers had back in the day. That's my
What size is
Yes.
it? Since we know all of that fat is not good, so what does it look like?
let's get him in shape. All right. And he's gonna have a 6-pack with the clock right in front of him with his rainbow pimp, with a pimp cup too.
Yeah. And what's he riding in?
He's gonna be running in a caddy.
All right.
Thank you.
Damage is done.
I did want to mention, if anyone has not seen the satanic display at the state capitol, I recommend looking it up. Just Google it. It's hilarious. It looks like a 5th grader's art project. It really does. It looks.
Is that the one with the dope?
No, it's not a goat. It's literally, it's like a diorama of an angel falling into the paper flames. It's really good.
It's just the statement. It's just the statement.
They're just doing it because they can, I think. But it's really cheesy. If they were serious, they would have at least put something up a little nicer, I would think. but I highly recommend it.
Was that next to the Festivus Bowl that they have?
Is there a Festivus Bowl?
That's awesome.
Yes, there is a Festivus Bowl.
Excellent. Well, I guess it is.
Festivus for the rest of us.
us.
Yeah.
Yes. Watch 3 hours of Seinfeld.
From Seinfeld, they didn't celebrate Christmas, they had a Festivus bowl.
Yes.
Stanza. Stanza?
Well, I'll tell you, don't worry, I got you.
I think that it's actually time to move on to the educational portion of our
Yeah,
meeting. So please help me welcome our general evaluator today, Stephany Morgan.
Thank you, Jessica. At this point, we shift to now our education, our feedback section, where we get to get the information we desire to learn and grow. We begin first with the evaluations of the prepared speeches. Our 2 evaluators have been diligently preparing during table topics here. And the first evaluator this morning, giving his first evaluation, evaluating the speech of Rich Massa. Please welcome Hadi M.
It's going to require a lot more than All right, so Rich, the very first thing I noticed about the delivery of your speech is how confident and dynamic you are. I'd like to commend you for that. I thought that you were very well informed of the material you were talking about, and your delivery was incredibly funny, and your use of class participation or Toastmaster participation was awesome. So asking the questions, doing the countdown, I thought that was brilliant. In terms of suggestions for improvement, I thought that the left hand in the pocket was a little detracting. I would have liked to see more of your Italian use of hands.
That's where it is. Are you sure?
Yeah, I thought that would have made it much more lively. Let's see, what else do I have here? I thought a little less pacing would have been better as well. So I felt like sometimes you were pacing a little bit. But other than that, your use of movement was also powerful. You stayed still at some point. I thought that was very effective. I would have liked to see an attention grabber in the first sentence. So just something to get us in right away. You got us by the second or third sentence, but I would have liked to see it in the first one. I love the use of your research, so research from the University of Stratton, your example from Tony Robbins, your personal anecdotes from your life. I thought that was brilliant and really added to the credibility and effectiveness of the speech. And it was clear, the purpose of the talk was clear, so the objective was to get to the point. And it was very clear that you were talking about resolutions and how we could keep them. That was very clear right away. I thought you had great transitions, so the speech flowed really well. It just kind of all flowed smoothly. I didn't notice any gaps at all whatsoever. Your objective was also to not use notes, preferably, and you did a great job of that. Obviously, no notes whatsoever. Overall, I thought it was very, very effective speech. I thought it was funny. I thought you were confident. I loved the use of rituals equals results, and great job. Thank you.
And evaluating Gus's speech on Confluence, please welcome Martin Bell.
Thank you, Stephen. Good morning, everybody. I had a moment of illumination this morning. Actually, I didn't know it at the time, but it was 6:45, and I hear either construction trucks or garbage trucks in the neighborhood next to me that woke me up. Apparently, I had forgotten to set my alarm, and I said, "Oh my God, I'm going to miss Toastmasters, and this is going to kill me." But it all worked out. Glad to be here. And Gus, you always provide us with a fantastic speech, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. So the purpose of Gus's speech today, just as a reminder, was, as a demonstration talk, was to present a demonstration on a process, product, or activity. And I thought it was pretty interesting that you took a non-physical approach of demonstration. So Gus wanted to demonstrate insights into what is right and wrong, ways to accumulate knowledge, and apply that to our everyday lives. So how do we obtain knowledge? And he provided a show and tell, kind of as a science experiment with the liquids in order to help us obtain wisdom. I thought it was very good that you discussed why it's important for us to obtain wisdom, and you made it relevant with your experiences as a pastor and just as in everyday life. It's helpful for all of us to try and be as wise as possible. You mentioned two sources of truth as part of the demonstration, one from the scriptures, and then second, all other truths. And Confluence, which was the primary result of obtaining wisdom, was inherent in the demonstration. I thought, as a way of helping for your next speech, is that you had two liquids in front of the table. It kind of seemed as though there was going to be a science experiment there, and it might have been helpful perhaps to bring those out after informing us of what the demonstration was going to be of. Because here it seemed as though there was something physical that was going to happen, and your demonstration was on something non-physical. Another suggestion perhaps for a future speech is perhaps to take a little bit more of time and emphasize, which you did with the first color was our wisdom from scriptures, right? And the second was all other wisdom, and perhaps explain, I may have missed it, but perhaps explain in the middle what that empty bottle was. Perhaps that is our head, that is our being, and we are slowly pouring knowledge from both sources into our being, into our brain over time. And perhaps just to emphasize, point that out, take a little bit more of time in doing so. I especially liked at the end where you also offered tips for help, reading the Psalms by calendar date and so forth. As always, you make your speeches very interesting. They're always enjoyable. I think everybody really gets a kick out of them, and I commend you on another job well done. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Martin. Now it's time to get feedback from our functionaries. See how we've survived through this meeting. So if you illuminate us, please, our timer as to how well we did on the time.
Thank you, Master Evaluator. Our speakers, Rich, you had a time of 6 minutes and 55 seconds, just under. Gus, just slightly over at 7 minutes and 7 seconds. Our table topic speakers, Diane, 44 seconds, and I'm sorry, I got confused and I gave you the red card when it was supposed to be the green card.
I never pay attention to
But you were right in there, 44 seconds. Jessica, 1 minute and 3 seconds. Stephen, 1 minute and 3 seconds. Julia, 53 seconds. Kerri, 47 seconds. Our guest, Sanjiv, a little over 1 minute and 13 seconds. And Rich, 56 seconds. Our evaluators, Hadi, 2 minutes, 26 seconds. And Marty, 3 minutes, 25 seconds. Thank you.
Julia, how many foibles did you catch on us this morning?
There was a lot of illumination on ahs and ums today. Stephen, I did not hear one from you though. Jessica, I have 2 ahs, 1 5 so's, and a tongue click. Lori, I only heard 2 so's. Kerri, 1 ah and 2 so's. Rich, you were absolutely completely clean on your speech. It was amazing. I was listening, I heard nothing.
Wow. From the Jersey
But you made
Mayhem?
up for it in the table topic.
All right.
4 ahs, 3 ums, and 1 so.
I was supposed to be in my speech.
I guess I only heard an ah and a you know. Diane, 2 so's. Sanjiv,
Yeah.
you had 3 ahs, 1 a so, 2 ands, and a double clutch. Hadi, I heard 4 ahs, 2 ums, 1 so. a couple of berries in there, and 1 double clutch. Martin, you're the big winner of our Oz today.
Hooray.
32 Oz, 3 ands, and a berry, a conflict, and 5 double clutches. That's my report.
I don't have enough room for Marty.
We'll just swipe.
Not pound coffee before getting on.
Kerri, how are we with the English language this morning?
For the word of the day, I have Jessica, Julia, Diane, Stephen, Martin, and Sanjiv. I think that was it, so if you said it and I missed you. Okay. And then, things that I liked, I liked Rich's shiny used vehicle and when discussed meets desire.
Yeah.
And Gus, all truth is God's truth. Hadi, you used the word clear 4 times in the same sentence. And also very, very effective is not really proper. You don't.
It's not very effective.
Exactly. And I like Stephen's cutting down the trees.
As general evaluator to evaluate the meeting in general. Although Sergeant Arms managed to not miss anything too badly. This morning.
Who's that?
If anyone else would like to do that role for next week, it is also open. For the agenda, thankfully we had it all put together well. The changes were announced. We have our times in there and the goals for the speeches, so everyone had everything in front of them ready to go. There was a bit of fumbling going on at handoff of the lectern and in staging with the general setup here for you guys. Before the introduction, stage should be set. Before the introduction, before the Toastmaster starts to speak. So if lectern's going to be moved or table's going to be removed, things are going to be put out, set up, whatever, do that before the introduction starts because the introduction is where your speech starts. And you still want that scattering your message and your impact. Along with that way, you don't want to walk up with things in your hands so you can't do the handshake, makes it a little bit harder. When you're exchanging here, there should be a handoff if it's going to be a handshake ideally, if not some other way of indicating that the transfer is occurring up front. Please make sure that that happens. You walk away leaving the person hanging, everyone's going, what did you do to piss them off? When you're about to be introduced, it helps, especially if you need to move up before the introduction starts so you're not walking behind everybody and taking the time. The Functionaries good part-timer, when you're holding up the cards, when they get to the card, hold it. Keep it up. Do not put it down until the next card comes up. So green stays up till yellow comes up, yellow stays up till red comes up, and red stays up, period, until they're done. That's because you don't know when they're going to look. When they make, I may be focusing over here, and if you put it up, put it down. Oh, I missed it. Oh, I'm still have time now. That's for that idea. Table topics, great interesting ones that we got here. Stephany, you're trying to provoke us again.
What?
You.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. You see that halo.
And since I am supposed to also comment on the evaluators in particular, Hadi, first evaluation, well done.
Very good. Yes.
You had done a great job of positive beginning, throwing in your suggestions, ending on the strong positive, giving some of the specifics. The only thing I can add to that one is it is a speech, have an opening, you had a conclusion, but more of an opening would have given it a good bookends. Martin, you had a great opening on yours. You had some good suggestions. You're doing a bit of recap. And we saw the speech, we didn't need the recap. So you could have skipped that and put more in the other stuff, but your specifics and your exact examples, especially where you're saying what you might try to do and giving it kind of describing what you might do or even saying, demonstrating what to do differently for Gus was an excellent way to information provided the evaluation. So thank you for that. I believe that covers what I had for the meeting in particular. Therefore, I have to also shift the role since the president's not here. I'll take the role of Vice President Education to take the next parts here. Has the schedule gone around? And since I'm on this end,
Oh, gosh.
it didn't even get around.
It never left the corner.
We definitely need that to get around because we have lots of empty spots for next week. In the meantime, our guest Sanjiv, what did you think of the meeting? We'd love to hear.
Thank you. It was a very good meeting. I like to know the reason I came here is to improve on my like speaking skills, and I think it is a good opportunity for me to improve on that. I already know that like there is hesitancy in my speech, which I can improve on that. This was a good speech by Rich. It was like I thought it was a really good one. I would say that I don't know the right word because of the vocabulary, which I need to improve that. And Gus was good too, like very inspirational, and it was connecting to what we do in everyday life. I hope to see you back here.
I do know for the officers, officer training for the next 6 months, we do need to have at least 4 for our own credit to get there, and ideally everybody will be January 10th.
Correct.
At the Calvary Assembly again, as it has been for the past few years. So please put that on your calendars for those you're here. Make sure you can be able to be there if you can. Are there any other announcements to be made at this time? Schedule is coming around. Everyone's staring at it. Who is going to be here next week? Do we have just about almost everyone who's okay? If very likely it could be small. Expect that you'll be doing a role. I know we already have 3 people say they're going to speak, including an icebreaker. So we want to make sure we can at least get signed up to do that one as well. It's making its way around. I should probably particularly look at next week's because that's where we're going to need it. Is there anyone that signed up for Toastmaster yet? That's what we're really going to need for next week.
I can switch it to Toastmaster if you want me to.
I wish if there's anyone who wants to take it on as a first time, it's a lighter meeting. It's usually a bit easier in terms of not as many people staring at you. Planning out further, since I was trying to plan out further for the meetings as we're going, I would expect we'll probably have the contest in the last week of February. I believe it's the 24th for us. So that will be the International Speech and Table Topics Contest. Anyone who wants to do the International Speech Contest, you have to have completed your 6th speech before the contest. So, particularly Rich and Hadi in particular, Martin, if you want to. Everyone else, Lori actually you already have because you've been a member in the past, if you wanted to. Everyone else is covered. Gus, is there something you're willing? Are you here next week?
No, I'll send next week. I may try to follow.
So Julie, you're willing to do the Toastmaster for next week? I can okay. Okay, now everyone will put your hand up. Is your name on here?
Yeah.
Okay. Why is it that I have everyone signing up for the functionary roles when you know we're going to need the other stuff done? You're going to be dragged into the other ones if not.
I'll do table topics, how's that?
Table topic? Okay.
So, you can take me off Grammarian.
Evaluate myself.
Are you speaking next week? Oh.
I'll take Evaluator, certainly, no problem.
Are you here next week?
Yes. I can be here. Well, we shall see who steps in and others. We may be having some interesting.
I'll take another look at it at the end of the meeting.
Your list is timer.
For the weeks after?
Oh, weeks after, no, next week. Weeks after January 6th, 13th, 20th. We got 1 speaker, Nicole, on the 6th. Hadi and Diane are signed up on the 13th. And 20th is still open. Any bad Christmas stories yet to be told? Steven? Oh, that's right.
50-50.
Oh, the raffle.
50-50. Anyone else got that?
Good job. We have.
There you go.
Maybe you
And thank you, Diane.
Project Freeze, is that right?
Yeah. Everyone else got their money in?
We have our guests.
I gave it.
Oh, you did.
Oh, that's right.
He's got tickets.
He's got tickets.
You have tickets?
Yeah.
Gus did.
Here,
Kerri
I'll
Kerri.
Yeah, Kerri needs.
I'll take it.
And the winner is,
I know. Who's doing
da-da-da.
at the end of that?
2300709.
How was that?
Is that yours? Who said it?
That would be me.
I think you two like planned this. I think so.
Okay.
How much you get
If you
now?
only knew how much money I've contributed.
That's a lot of money.
That's true, that's true.
All right.
But
Anything
don't
else?
forget, yes, I need everybody to put their money in this little tin, okay,
Yeah.
remember?
Oh, baby, you gotta
Sanjiv,
make
you're off the
room.
hook.
Yeah, no,
You're-
just don't pay.
Merry Christmas, see you next week.